You are watching or listening to Purham and Associates. For more information, go to rpurham.com or follow me on all social media platforms and subscribe at RPURHAM. Thanks. See you over there. Hey, good day to you all. Welcome to Purham and Associates. I'm your host, Randy Purham. Hey, I hope you all had a fantastic last week or so, since I missed y'all last week a little bit there. I was a little busy, and so I had to take care of some things, so I had to miss a couple of days. Forgive me. You be all right. We got, it's Friday, and this is the time that we take to thank our men and women who are serving our nation around the world, sacrificing and committing their time and freedom, and protecting our freedom, our Constitution, our way of life. We thank you and we salute you, and we wish you a safe journey back home to your friends, family, loved ones, wherever that may be. And with that being said, folks, we got two those special guests with us today. And we finna get it in, ladies and gentlemen, because what they're bringing to the table is something that is highly, highly important, not only to the youth community, but to our community, because we need to bring up the youth and make sure that they are on the right path to successful in life, so they can take care of us when we get old and gray. But without further ado, we have Star Lowery-Rogers. She's the executive director and has over 24 years of experience in medical instruction, including medical assisting and healthcare management programs, as well as 25 plus years of career development experience of putting the community to work. That's what I'm talking about. She is committed to helping others succeed, not only in the professional world, but also on a personal level. Star is a certified life coach, here to help balance work and life, leading to long-term stability with proven successful placement rates in the Midwest. Star is eager to bring that passion to Polk County, Florida communities for workforce growth. Then we also have Coach Len McNair Sr. He is also the executive director and athletic coach. Coach Len McNair brings more than 30 years of coaching experience to Florida Central Tech, backed by a proven history of developing athletes and elevating them to the next level. Over the course of his career, he has helped countless student athletes, earn opportunities to play college football across the nation. Coach McNair's coaching journey spanned every level of the sport, from youth leagues to high school, college, and semi-professional football. His passion for the game, combined with a deep commitment to player development, has earned him respect throughout the football community. In 2021, he founded and became the CEO of a semi-professional football organization, demonstrating his leadership and continued dedication to advancing the sport. That same year, he joined Florida Central Tech as defensive coordinator, where he led the team to the number one national defensive ranking in their division during his first season. After that standout achievement, Coach McNair was promoted to head football coach. Now leading the program, he is focused on building a championship-level culture and helping his players succeed on the field, in the classroom, and in life. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing some and presenting to others, we have none other than Star and Lynn. Welcome, y'all. How y'all doing today?
Thank you.
It's Friday. It's Friday. I'm motivated today. I am just on cloud nine. This fine, beautiful morning. Well, thank y'all both for being here today. Yeah, very impressive backgrounds for both of you, and I know we're finna get into talking about a lot of things. And first, I want to turn over to Star because you both are at Rising Stars, and the tell us about the organization. Tell us what people can expect out of Polk County, Florida.
Well, Rising Star, a little bit of background. It comes from a long way. I've been a teacher for a long time, and I've got a lot of students out there. And believe it or not, I still talk to them. I still communicate with them. They always reaching back out saying, "Hey, Miss Star, I need a job. I need a job." And so I just had to make this official. I'm like, I keep my side. I'm like, man, let's just do this for real. So we are coming hard. The stars are rising. That's what this is for. So, and our program is just not limited to young adults. Our GED program is limited to, I mean, it's for anyone over 16 and older. So it's not limited. There's no age cutoff, which is really nice. It's a very good opportunity for Polk County. It is much needed, both programs, because our program is kind of a two-in-one program.
Hmm.
I expect good things. It's coming. We're growing. So
Okay.
I'm very excited.
Okay,
Yes.
awesome. Now you say you also have a GED program. So a 12-year-old that says, "Hey, I've been studying. I ain't trying to go to high school yet. Or like that. I'm not trying to go to high school. I got better aspirations in life. Can I come in and take a GED program and get on with my life? Can they do that?"
At that age, rope don't fix it. You got to be at least 16. And
Okay.
and and we don't take just every 16-year-old. You know what I mean? If they're in regular school, a
Hmm.
traditional school, and they're doing good, that process up. This is for the alternative child that maybe regular school is not for them.
Gotcha.
They need a smaller classroom. Maybe they got daycare issues or living issues, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on. That's been one of the biggest things is these kids don't have a place to stay, and if they
Right.
don't have a place to stay, you can imagine them getting up trying to attend someone's class is just not working.
Hmm. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's something that we're also trying to provide. 12-year old, I'd have to turn it down and say, hey, keep going. You're not even there yet.
Right.
But someone, as long as they're 16, I'll take them. I might even take a 15-year-old who's maybe emancipated because I don't want to turn anybody away. And we're going to work with the local school district as well. That way
Okay.
we can keep the kids that are doing good, keep them on that road.
Hmm.
If
Right.
it's not broke, don't fix it.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, okay. I'm gonna turn over to
Yeah.
Coach Len real quick and get his perspective on what he does and how he contributes to Rise of Stars. Coach Len.
Thank you. Um, what I do here is we don't give the basic physical education classes like they do in your traditional schools. I offer more direct training in
Mm-hmm.
um, sports that's more so to help build um, not only their skills on the field, but also to help build them as citizens in our community um, through sports. It's not just typical go run around and come back and sit down type training. I do I do give a full professional sports training for multiple sports, not just one particular sport. We give out multiple sports, and what we're trying to do is keep them excited about sports as well as get educated. Due
Mm-hmm.
to the fact that government funding in our area is taking sports away slowly but surely in our school system. I recall when I was in what they call middle school now, we had a sports team.
Yeah.
Now they don't. So I'm just pushing to help, keep them motivated and understand that if they want to get to a certain level in sports, they have to do it through education first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
You're right. Growing up, middle school, or for those that are really old, we would say primary education. we we
junior
had
high.
yeah, junior high, yeah,
Mhm.
we had you're right, we had sports teams in that era. And I know it started to fade away because it seemed like it was too, well, the way it was explained to me, let me put it like that it was too much for the child to try to focus on education and sports at the same time, because it would give for some kids, they were more focused on sports than they was the education aspect of it. And then as you get to high school, you learn, through maturity and everything else, you learn to provide a little bit more of a balance, because there's consequences if you don't have your education on par to be able to play in those sports.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, that makes sense. Why not instill that instill that mindset at the earlier age, the earlier stages and stuff. And so it was like, oh well, it also goes down to budget, and it's like, well, if you had these school administrators that's making $600,000 a year take a regular salary,
Right.
hey, I'm just saying.
Yep.
I'm just saying. And then you span that.
Oh, yeah.
You span that
Yeah,
across
you
the
make
whole
good
state. You span it across the whole state. You got, say, 40, 50 administrators in these different school districts making six-figure salaries. You drop them down to five-figure. Okay, I get you want to make a living. 75, 80,000. You ain't doing anything. You sit in the office behind a computer all day on Zoom. So whatever. You're not doing anything special. Then the rest of that money can go into the sports industry for the schools. But hey, I'm not the president or the governor, so nobody's gonna listen to me. but but going back to you guys now, Rising Stars. Now you have to where you are doing career placement, training up people that come in and get them ready for, it's like a workforce center in a sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the sports aspect of it for Coach Len, where you're helping kids come in, or adults come in and say, hey, I'm looking to get better at being a wide receiver or a quarterback or that right guard type of thing. You're helping them do all these things. Does Rising Stars have a facility that could accommodate these things?
So currently, we do not have a facility. We have an outside training area that Coach Len is familiar with, but that is what we're seeking right now. We're seeking an actual building. That way I can continue the GED program. Currently, I've been going into people's homes, doing it at the library, different things like that. But we need an actual place stabilized so we can just invite the community in, a physical address, and then we can actually provide more to the community. It's kind of hard going in and doing it privately.
Right.
So that's kind of what we're out here seeking right now. Is we're having an ongoing fundraiser to try to get us a building. So that's what we're looking for.
Okay, Coach Len.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to piggyback off what Ms. Star said. First and foremost, the most important part that we're looking for is a space where we can perform in the classroom first, that hopefully have a little land in the back end that I could do field events with those that participate in the sports program.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, angel donors. For those that are listening to the show today, you hear the need, you hear the call to action. These folks here are trying to do something for the kids, and I always get people to call me and say, Randy, what about the kids? You always say F the kids. No, I don't. No, I don't. But no, we want to look out for the children, and we want to give them a space to be able to, a safe space at that. It's a space where they can come, learn, be nurtured, and grow. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, in case you did not know, April is, Child Abuse Awareness Month. And so these kids that are, out there in the streets, they're getting to God knows what, what they say, idle minds and idle hands is the devil's playground, right? And so this is the kind of program that is designed to keep those kids from getting into trouble, excelling in life, getting into something positive and productive for society, And what they're
Yep.
simply needing is a place to go and do that instead of going to somebody's home and then that person or the family is uncomfortable because they can't live their lives like they normally do. It's like, oh, we got mixed company over here, y'all. We gotta act right for a few hours while Johnny over here is getting his homework done, type of thing.
Yeah.
Folks, donate. You see the website right here, risingstarspoke.org, and this is an organization. This is in Florida, so we know that they're in good hands down there in Florida, and it's not in Illinois or Minnesota or Michigan or California where it's the Learning Center. I'm cracking jokes, y'all. I'm cracking jokes, but
You trying to get it? You
yeah,
trying to get it this morning? It's all right.
yeah,
Go get
but on a serious note, support the
Yeah.
organization and talk to us about the training program here that you have that's coming soon, Coach Len.
Yes. Well, my program now it expands from the age of 8 years old and older. Uh, but the focus is those student body that's been neglected in high school because of the now NCAA transfer portal. Uh, we're looking to place them in a school to where they can continue their education as an associate and be put on a platform to where your Division 1, Division 2, and also Division 3 schools be able to take a look at these athletes as well and offer them a better scholarship and opportunity, in the future and growth, be a part
Hmm.
of a program that will get them uh, higher learning.
Okay, awesome, awesome, and I played football in high school, right? I was horrible. No. I was okay. I was okay. My freshman year, I played middle linebacker and tight end, and I was on special teams, return special teams. And I got injured, I got a side clipped, and blew out my right knee, and that kind of like put an end to my career as far as high school football went. And as I recovered and got into my sophomore year, uh, I played basketball, so frosh soft basketball, and I was going to get elevated to the varsity team because of my height, and I was able to dunk at the time. So they wanted some folks that had some hops back then, and so but I just couldn't get with it. It was like injury after injury after injury, and then subsequently I said, you know what, let me just chill out and focus on my academic career and get done with that, so I could just go ahead and go into the military. And that's what I ended up doing. For Coach Len, the question I have for you is, when you have kids that are just so focused on, I'm going to go into the NFL, I'm going to go into the NBA, but I'm only 16, I'm only 17 years old, and they don't care about anything else. What is your message to that young scholar on hey, you want to have a backup plan, because that might not work out. All it takes is that one idiot on the field to hit you the wrong way, and that's it, type of thing. And now you're stuck. So, what is your message to those kids out there that's thinking along those lines?
Well, that's a good question. What I normally do is I give them $1 million contract,
Okay.
right? And I break it down to them. I break it down to them. If they're not able to read my contract when I'm done, they will owe me.
Mm.
So, um, in the process, that teaches them that they need their education, right? Because if I give you $1 million contract and you want to buy mama a new house, you want to buy sisters and brothers new cars, you got to wear the new fashion and the bling and all those things, and you want it in the forefront. But what you don't want is to have your $1 million taken from my 33 and 30% that I get off the top.
Right.
So
Right.
you slashing already. The house you bought, mama, was a $400,000 house, slashed off the top. You want to drive a new Benz or a new Bentley? Okay, we're taking another $100,000 off. So
Hmm.
now we're sitting instead of you having $1 million contract, you now have a $500,000 debt. but you signed a contract. How did you get this contract? It's going to take education. It's going to take you to be able to read and understand what you're reading. And that's why I'm teaming up with Miss Star, because with her background, what she brings to the table, excites me about how to make sure that these kids are able to read and write,
Right.
and be fundamentally sound in their education. And that's what we're pushing for right now. Eventually, Roger Stars, we are looking to move into adding um, a post grad program for
Okay.
those who do graduate high school,
Hmm.
but not getting looked at by our national NCAA Division One, Two, and Three schools. So because we know that Division Three and your JUCO schools are very expensive,
Hmm.
and our push is simply this: if we're able to provide housing for the kids, they don't have to focus on I got to get a job, I got to pay bills, I got to be in class, I got to go to practice, I got a game on Saturday, so my Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is all focused on sports, and I'm not able to do my education part.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
so what we're doing is eventually we're going to go into the online courses for the athletes. That way, they're not focused on running back and forth across the campus,
Mm. Okay.
being late in class,
Yeah.
and we can kind of schedule the athletic parts around that.
Good deal. Okay. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah,
I
thank you.
love that idea actually. Yeah, my school is my university years was all online for the most part, and yeah, I love it. Not have to drive down the street to the campus and all that. It was like, yeah, I'm gonna just sit right here in the comfort of my home with my cognac and type away, and I'm good to go. I'm just keeping it real, y'all. Just keeping it real.
Hey, at least I know I wasn't the only one
Yeah,
going to college.
yeah, exactly. Start
Got to
talk to
knock
us.
those classes out.
Yeah, exactly. And I got it done. Graduated with 3.7. Hey, it is what it is. Yeah, could have been
Hey,
better.
that's
Yeah, not too
awesome.
good, not too shabby.
It could have
That
been
is
better.
awesome.
It could have been better, but being in the military and having four road racks running around the house, you kind of just, yeah, not fun. Star, talk to us about the career coach aspect. What are you doing to help the young scholars be prepared in life there?
Well, sometimes, we always ask these kids, what do you want to be when they grow up? And they never know. Sometimes we ask adults what they will never know. So sometimes we just stuck. We're not sure what we want to do, but living
Yeah.
paycheck to paycheck is not what we want to do. So we want to encourage them to find a career, not just a job. Something
Mm-hmm.
stable, start building a 401k, start building a savings account, those types of things. So with
Yes.
the career coach program, we do mock interviews, we do their resumes, we have a professional dress closet, so we help them learn how to dress for the interview. We teach them how to answer the interview questions. A interview. I'll tell you, a McDonald's interview is different than a medical interview, a CNA interview, give or say. There's totally different interviews, and you got to know how to answer those questions. So we go through those questions. What's
Mm-hmm.
illegal to ask? Not.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't know about that. They ask you about kids and all that stuff. You opening up doors. If you asking about kids, well, the next thing I'm gonna say is, "What's your daycare looking like?" They're not supposed to ask those kind of questions. So we just want to prepare them for that time and to get the job. One of our seminars is called Get the Job. And that's where we really get down and dirty. We answer all those questions. We go through, what would you say if they ask you this? What would you say if they ask you this? I've had them come in and put on clothes. Show me what you would dress like for a job interview. They come in with open toe shoes. Florida's a little different. I guess I'm from up north. So up north, you don't even wear open toe shoes for an interview.
Right.
Down here is different. They wear flip flops and all types of stuff. That stuff is not necessary. It's not appropriate for a job. You know what I mean? You wear closed toes, you might wear a blouse, a top, a polo.
Right.
They wear anything to a job interview, even down to the scrubs now. The young ladies, the scrubs are so tight. We
Yeah.
don't need them that tight. You need to be able to bend over to do some stuff. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Right.
those types of things we're just trying to get people to work on. And it's all about grooming.
Yeah.
Some people, they've never had training. So they need that grooming. So we're going to be grooming these young adults. They need that support because mom and dad is not doing that at home. Mom and dad showing them something different. So we got to be able to show them something different. They need more of a support than what mom and dad is doing. But you know what? Our program, I take mom and dad too. If mom and dad ain't got no GED, we'll take you too.
You
Because
know.
that's how this goes. We want to educate everybody because
Yeah.
mom and dad got to be able to look at that paycheck and break it down and read it and look at your W-2s. Us, we so busy about getting the income tax, we don't even look at nothing.
Right.
Like look at the numbers, understand the numbers, comprehend those numbers. What do they mean? So we got to do better, but we got to start somewhere.
I'm 40. I'm 46 years old, Star, and to this very day, I'm still trying to figure
I'm
out.
46 too. All right.
I'm still trying to figure out who FICA is.
That's what,
I'm like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
I'm like, who is this mug taking this change out my check every month? FICA.
Yeah.
But no, but yeah, you're right though.
financial literacy is very
it is.
important.
Very important.
You know what I mean? Like I made the comment last week. We quick to buy Jordans, but we don't. We don't go pay the other bills. Like you gotta get your there. But financial literacy is very important. Be able
Absolutely.
to save money.
Yes.
Be able to have some money put up. If your car breaks down, you got money to get that fixed. You don't have to go pay check to pay off the Amscot and Western Union to get a payday loan and that type of thing. So we just got to do better as a whole as people, but it's not even just us, it's just the community as a whole. So
Exactly, and and to that point, I my one of my kids, I'll leave them nameless. They always say I'm embarrassing them. They always say I'm embarrassing them on my show and stuff. I'm always talking about them. I said you shouldn't have been doing stupid stuff, but hey, whatever. You can look back on this years later and be like, you know what, he was right. Yeah. But one of my kids came to me and said, hey, I want these new Jordans, and I looked at them and I said, okay. I said they're nice. There was at the time I want to say like $175 or something like that. And I said, tell you what. I said, I want you to go look up the Nike stock ticker and tell me how much the stocks are going for the day. They went to go look it up, and they came back and it was like it's $75 a share. What does that mean? And so I broke it all down to them, and I said, now. You want to spend $175 on a pair of shoes that's going to wear out in 6 months if you wear them every day, and they get holey, dirty, and all that. Versus you're taking that $175 and buying you at least 2 shares, and over the course of time, you can build up those dividends and get the change from that, and you could go towards buying some Jordans, and you kind of get them for free.
Yep.
They looked at me and they said, "Huh." And I said, and then by then. There'll be a new pair of Jordans come out because Jordans come out every 6 months, So you're gonna be ready. You're gonna be ready for a new set anyway. And they was like, "Wait, how do I do that?" So all the kids got involved and they started buying stocks and everything else and the different things that they wanted, And I said, "Okay, look at the company that product comes from, and see how much you can invest into that company and everything else." And so that was my way of deterring them from just buying stuff just to be in with the Joneses. Just because other kids are getting it or doing it doesn't mean you have to. Now you own it. Right. You be like, you bought those Jordans, but I own the stock of that company. That's a whole different conversation at 12 years old. And
that's right. That's right. It's so funny you said that because I got paid off the Nike dividend yesterday because I invest in that. It's so funny you said that.
Yes,
people don't know. Like even on Cash App, you can invest just a couple dollars. They let you invest on there, and then you actually make money back. People don't even think about that. So
exactly, absolutely,
small things.
And that's the thing that like you said, as a community, those are the things that we don't think about. We just think about like, oh, I'm going to go buy this because it just came out, or I want this, I want that. And it's like, well, you know what? How about I have ownership in the company so as they are coming out with these new products and all these
Right.
other idiots are ready to go buy
Yep.
it, that stock goes up. And now
Yep.
I'm getting dividends and everything goes from that. And I can reinvest that into something else. And I don't
That's
even have
right.
to have that product, you know. And at the end of the day, I
Right.
got
Yeah, we
ownership
got
in
to
that
think about
company.
the long term.
Exactly.
That's right.
And I love that
Yes.
that's what you guys are doing out there. And I want to, you know, talk about the uh, forgive me if this is not the right flyer. I think this is it. Yes, talk about the different services that you offer for both, you know, the teenagers and the adults coming into this kind of program. I know we kind of highlighted, you know, the GED program and the job readiness, but what else do you do there?
So along with those, we do the financial literacy, and then we also have health and wellness as a part of our program. So we have seminars for that too, helping people make better decisions at the grocery store.
Mm,
Encouraging people to go to the doctor's office, get your blood pressure checked, those types of things. So there's small changes kind of work together. Just working through some of those health conditions.
yeah.
So, and then on top of that, just the our athletic program. That's really the other major side of our program. So we got
Mm.
education, job training, and then the athletics is another major portion of. So,
Awesome, awesome. And, you know, it's funny you talk about nutrition because for those that are on the SNAP or welfare
oh
program,
yeah, big
effective,
changes on that.
yeah, big changes. Effective
Yep.
this month. Matter of fact, here in
Uh
Texas,
huh.
anyways. I don't know if it's nationwide,
Here
but
in
I know
Florida
here.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And
Yes, sir.
so yeah, next 1 February. I mean 1 April. You cannot go to the store and buy stuff with sugar in it, basically. So it is going to be relegated to those fruits, vegetables, and you know your everyday like meat products type of thing. And I said to myself at first I was like, why is the government dictating what people can buy? And then I said, wait a minute, never mind. I digress. It's coming from the government,
Hmm.
so it's like you want this money, we're gonna tell you what to do with
Yep.
it. So I said, okay,
That's
I'm gonna
right.
shut. I'm gonna
That.
shut up. and
Yep.
and
That's
in
right.
the grand scheme of it all, and also in the grand scheme of it, you know, it is looking out for people who do not have the discipline to control what they're putting into their bodies. It's like, hey,
Right.
at the end of the day, either you like what we're giving you, what we're selling you, and you
Mhm.
take it and you grow from that, or you get off the. I was gonna say something bad.
That's it.
You get off the
That's it.
dole. You
That's
get off
it.
the dole, and you
Yep.
get your own, and then you can do what you want to do.
Yep.
You can buy those Pop
Yep.
Tarts, and you can buy all those sweets and everything else. And so I get it,
Yep.
and for us, especially in the I'm not going to even say just the black community, but the minority community at large, we have a bad eating habit. I mean, it's everybody across the board, but you see it
Uh-huh.
more prevalent in
Yeah.
the communities of color because we're on the go. We're constantly hustling. We're constantly in the streets. Moving from job to job, school to school, or whatever the case is, and it's mighty funny because I live in a more suburban area of Austin, but nonetheless Austin, and when I go out, there's no chain restaurants, not for miles. But when you get into the actual inner city of Austin, they're next door to each other,
Yeah.
and I say it's by design. It's like
Yeah.
we know that you while you're sitting at that bus stop waiting, to get on the bus or whatever, you're gonna get hungry or you're gonna smell that delicious cheeseburger and it's 99 cents. You can go in there and spend $10 and get the cheeseburger, the chicken nuggets, and an apple pie and that large fountain drink. And come back to the bus
Yep.
stop. Come
And your
back to the bus
stomach is
stop.
gonna pay for it later.
Exactly. And now you stinking up the bus and,
Yep.
and going about your business. But
Yep.
but in the course of all of that, you're putting all these things into your body that don't need to be there. Versus going
Right.
say more in a suburban area, you have to stop at a more traditional grocery store, and you're gonna pick up those fruits and vegetables and everything else, and that little snack, that little miniature charcuterie board that's in a plastic container, and you can go about your
Yep.
business. You because that's what you're
Yeah.
accustomed to, because that's all that's available to you. And so I think Robert F. Kennedy and company at DHS, they're getting America back on the right track with things, and with programs and organizations like yours to help facilitate that down to the more, I guess you could say, micro level. It helps reinforce that. And then you got Coach Len
Yes.
that says, "Hey, you little fat ass kid, you come here. You're gonna run 2 miles around this track." If you want to play some sports, and they're throwing up those Pop Tarts and cherry balls that they had, and then Snickers that they ate on the way over there, but they're getting healthier in the process. And I had a coach. I had a coach. He was my dean in high school as well. So our coach, Coach McFarland. I heard he passed away a few years ago, but I'm not sure, so I'm not gonna say rest in peace to him. But he was a great guy, but he was a mean coach. But it was a mean it was a kind of mean. And Coach Len, I don't know your coaching style, but I would say you're just looking at you, I can tell you're probably this way. You have that love meanness to you. It's like come here, you little punk. Get right, straighten your chest up. And it's like that drill sergeant, and you was like, "Yes, sir." And you're like, "I love you." You like, "I love you too." Now go out there and run 20 laps. It was like that with him. It was that weird vibe from him. But we knew that he cared about us, because he was just like really into making sure that we were doing the right thing all the time. And so I commend
That's
coaches.
that tough love.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Tough love, and it was just like, man, I hate to like make him upset, like on a for real level, type of thing. So I would hate to do it, and I got him there a few times. He called me to the office, and I had to close the door on him, and yeah, we got it in. You said you had a fundraiser coming up. Talk to us about that.
So this is an ongoing fundraiser. So this is an ongoing fundraiser
Okay.
that we're going to have, and this is for our building. So our Zeffy QR code is on there, and you can help by donating, even if it's just $1, just sharing the flyer. You just never know who's out there. So our Zeffy and our Cash App is on there. So this is just going to be an ongoing fundraiser until we get what we need. So we're going to be trying to look at some grants soon, and hopefully we can get approved for a grant to get everything going. But until then, we're going to be out there. We're trying to schedule a raiser event coming up this summer. The date to be announced, so we'll be letting you know. Maybe Randy, we can get you and David to come down, because we'd like to have 2 events. We'd like to have a community event, and then we also like to have it to be maybe like a fundraiser banquet.
Yeah.
So we can really network with some good people, invite some people down, and maybe even meet some of our kids. And just help fundraise this. So that's what we're working towards right now.
Okay, awesome. Ladies and gentlemen that are listening today, once again, you throw your money away into crazy stuff, all the time. Something like this, a program like this, RiseStarsPolk.org. You can send them $25, $100. Send them $5,000. You got $5,000 laying around. And this is these are the things that is for our future, for maybe not for us personally, but for our children. And given supporting a program like this and helping them get a building, a facility, a nice facility, to be able to accommodate not only the education, the job placement, and the athletic side of the house, but once again a place where kids could come and say, you know what, hey, I could be able to do my homework and maybe get some tutoring. Maybe I need some help with this, this project or this assignment. Hey, maybe I need to work on my form on doing push-ups because I look like a crooked ladder when I'm trying to do push-ups. Hey, coach, can you help me out with that? Type of thing. Or I can't do sit-ups because my gut is so big it can't even fit between my legs as I come up. That's my problem now. Since I retired. It's those little things that we work on, and ladies and gentlemen, once again, you gotta be able to sit back and say, you know what, I can write a check today, and help them out because these are important things, and maybe you can even vicariously live through these kids. You can say, hey, here's a check. I want to follow this organization and watch these kids grow. And, maybe I could come down and see, meet these kids and, say, hey, thank you for, sticking with this program. And I look forward to seeing, what you do in your future endeavors type of thing. And, it is a very gratifying thing to see. I work with kids here as well when I can, although I'm in politics on a grander scale of things. But every now and then the organizations that I participate with, we're dealing with kids, and I love working with the kids, teenagers, and punch them in the chest and slap them upside the head when they say something stupid to me. So it's just my way of getting business. But it's fun though. It's fun. We all have fun with it, and the thing that I often wonder about programs like this is, where did you go? You don't see or hear about these kind of programs anymore. Back in our younger days, we had the YMCA that was able to do these kind of things a little bit, and then they went away, or they're still around, but they do something totally different. It's just a building with a couple of staffers in there, and people come in there and just do what the hell they want to do, and there's no focus, no direction whatsoever. But organizations like yours, you just don't hear or see about them anymore. And if you do, they're not doing the things that they should be doing. They say one thing and then they do something totally different, and next thing you know, their doors closed the next year. Talk to us about Polk County. Give us the I guess you say the layout of how Polk County is organized in a way that could facilitate what it is that you guys are doing, because they may not even know about you all. They may not. Who knows? They may do. They might not even care. But we're going to put them on blast today, because Polk County, Florida, should not be letting this organization struggle. So there it is. I was setting it up, but I'm gonna go ahead and just put it out there. Polk County, you suck, because you let an organization like this. You let an organization like this just try to figure it out on their own and let them struggle and whatnot. Now we know you got a few $1 million in the coffers, not sitting there not doing anything. Y'all can cut them a check too. But talk to us about Polk County there.
Well, I'm gonna dive in, right?
So I'll let him.
Right. Born and raised here. I attended one of the greatest high schools in high school history throughout the nation. How many of us? What I've encountered recently was that people like to think and compare us to your local Boys and Girls Club. We're not the same. We are definitely more in depth with education and teaching. Uh, people how to get to their next levels in life. To show them their different tiers and steps they're taking. We are actually going to be doing a detailed planning for each individual that comes through the program, as far as them getting their GED first, and then looking toward what career they want to head into. Uh, so we know how to drive that. I'm not going to teach and waste time on teaching a kid about the medical forms of life, and his desires and dream in life is to be legal. So if you want to be a lawyer, I'm not going to send him to the University of Miami to learn about being a doctor and a nurse and things of that nature. So what we do is we're going to motivate them to do exactly what they want to do, because we all know that if you're doing what you love to do, it's not a job, it is a career because you love doing it. Yeah. So we're trying to push them towards that. Also, with the Boys and Girls Club, let's call a spade, like my boy said. Let's call a spade a spade. There's nothing more than a public daycare center.
Yes,
Parents send the
yes.
kids there for a little while, so they don't have to be bothered with them for a little while. So once they're at the Boys and Girls Club, and I'm not knocking the program, I'm really not. But let's be honest. When the kids get there, you give them kickballs and tell them to go play, right? So they're not learning how to uh, properly critique their body to do a simple push-up the right way or sit up
Hmm.
the correct way. Um, and they're not detailed them to say if this child wants to play baseball, who's going to teach this child how to hit, pitch, throw, catch, and not just say go play ball. Just go out there and
Right.
go play. Uh, and likewise with other sports, So with Rising Stars athletics department, we're gonna be more in depth with uh, sports training for that particular kid's desire.
Yep.
Uh, Up until we get to the post grad level, once we hit the post grad level, then we're recruiting for that particular sport, which is a little bit different.
Okay.
And the Boys and Girls Club's not offering that,
Right. Yeah,
so
they're not. They're not.
let's be
Yeah.
competitive.
The last time I was at a Boys and Girls Club was in Alaska, and once again going back to one of my kids being older, and that's where they wanted to go. After school, and I was like, okay, that's fine. I get it. It's one of those things that kids do at that time and want to hang out with their friends and stuff like that. And so I said, I have been in a Boys and Girls Club since I was a teenager. So let me go, and just, be a helicopter parent and watch and see what's going on off of the cut, type of thing. And so I went in through the backside and it was a basketball court. So I, grabbed a ball and shooting some of the teenagers out there. And I was watching my daughter on the other side with her friends. They was jumping rope and doing whatever they was doing, talking and stuff like that. And I just kind of like absorbed the atmosphere, and I was like, man, to your point, it's like a daycare center, just kind of like kids just doing whatever, and there was like no real adult supervision or guidance being given. It was just like, here's some balls, here's a rope, figure it out. And oh, by the way,
Well, and
we
they're
close
not
at
doing their
6.
homework either.
And
They're
exactly,
not doing their homework when
schoolwork.
they get
Yeah,
home.
yeah, because that
Yeah,
was.
you're picking them up from they haven't done their homework, so it's
Yep.
still got to come home at 8 o'clock and do your homework.
Homework.
That
Yep.
should be done first before you go play.
Exactly, and when I was growing up, that was a thing. When I went to our, it was our, we had a YMCA, and our Boys and Girls Club. We had a YMCA, and when you walk through that door, it was this
Yep.
big burly woman who forgot to shave that morning. She would snatch you up and she would take your book bag and she would start going through your book bag, and she like, you got
Uh-huh.
homework? And you like, yes ma'am.
Yeah.
And she like, go over there in that corner and sit down and do your homework before you do anything else, and then let me see when you get done.
Yeah.
And it was like, yes ma'am.
Yeah.
And as a group of us would do our homework first, and then we'd come
Yeah.
back
And see, that's one thing that's not even getting done just in a regular traditional home.
true.
You
Yeah.
got kids, they up at 9, 10 o'clock and they haven't done their homework. Or you got kids doing their homework in the morning before school. How
Hmm.
does that happen?
Yeah.
Because we couldn't do that. You don't
Hmm.
have time in the morning because you had to do all this stuff. These kids don't even make their bed. So we don't even go into it, but
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
not getting
yeah,
that,
yeah.
they're not getting that grooming, they ain't getting that training.
True.
And
That's true.
they ain't getting that ass whooping either. I could say that on your show.
Yes,
They
you
ain't
can.
getting it. That's
Yes,
the problem.
that's the problem.
That's a whole nother show.
Kids are not getting their ass kicked enough. Yes, I
Man,
100%.
no. We used to get ours for just for
Man.
breathing hard. So let alone, these
You
kids
got,
get
you
away
got,
with everything now.
you puff your chest at me, boy? No, sir. Let me make sure.
Yeah.
Pow! You like, deflate that chest. And my dad and grandfather, they were like the pinnacle role models of my life growing up to be a man. Because being in a household pretty much all females, it was like, you're not gonna do what they're doing. You just not. You just not. I'm sorry. Come here.
Yep.
And although my dad wasn't in the home with us, but because my mom and dad, they had split when I was young, but my dad was around. So every weekend I was at his house for the whole weekend, type of thing, and I
Yeah.
could ride my bike to his house. That's how close he lived, type of thing. So if I wanted to
That's
just get away
good.
from my sisters and my mom and my aunt, type of thing, it was like a few blocks ride, and I'm sitting on the porch until he got
Yeah.
home. Like, let me in. So he finally like, you know what? Let me just give you a key because I'm not gonna be here, like that. And so I'll be at the house. I'll be at his house playing Nintendo, and then roll out, type of thing. Go back home before the street lights came on. But that was a time where parents were somewhat involved in your lives. The '90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, remember PTA?
PTA, yes.
Do they still have PTA?
It's different now, but yes.
It's a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah, PTA.
PTO, I think what it is now.
Yeah, PTO. Yeah, PTO, PTA. Yeah, it is a little different now. It's more of an indoctrination club than. Let me tell you what your kid is doing in the classroom, so you can whip their ass when they get home tonight.
Right.
It's different. Yeah. That's how my PTA was. It was a parent teacher conference, and they would have the auditorium first, and the principal would come out and say his thing, and then the teachers would come up and say what's coming up over the next quarter, and then you go down to the classroom. You had that one-on-one session, and the teacher would go through the grade book and say what assignments you missing, point at your desk, and back then we had the desk that the lid lifted up.
Yeah.
and so if your desk was junky, you cleaned it out right then and there.
You had to clean it up. Yeah.
And you go down to the locker, and if your locker is junky, your mom or dad or whoever, the teacher will be like, "Yep, this is their locker. I don't know what they have in there," and so you got to sit there, open the locker, and all the books and stuff fall out, papers and everything, as you clean it up right then and there. That was our PTA nights, and I hated them when I was a kid. But I appreciated it because it was like, you know what, now I gotta stay on my P's and Q's and make sure I'm doing the right thing in terms of, my assignments getting turned in on time. And that was also the opportunity to get the extra credit because you missed those assignments. And so you know your mom be like ask, can you do extra? Gotta do extra credit, some extra credit to make up that grade.
And see, now it's like the kids, they almost raising themselves. You got moms working 2 and 3 jobs. They're not there when the kids get out of school. That's why the kids eating ramen noodles. Mom ain't smart enough to throw nothing in the crock pot for later. It's a lot. So it's like we gotta get back.
Yeah,
we got to get back to that. Now. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I got the crock pot going right now. I got some short ribs in there right now as we speak. So
I know that's right.
I get it. And that's the thing. Is the parents have relied on technology so much that they don't know anything anymore. They don't know how to raise their kids. They tell the kid, "Mom, I'm having issues with this homework assignment. Put it in ChatGPT and see what it says." It's like, come on, man. Go to TikTok. Go to TikTok and type in the subject and see what they're saying. Go to YouTube. We're letting technology teach our kids versus us taking the time to teach our children. And we wonder why. We wonder why the kids are, relying on influencers versus you can ask a kid right now, who's your favorite role model? Or who's a role model in your life? They're gonna name some random TikTok person or some
rapper
random
or something.
So exactly versus my dad, versus my grandfather, versus my uncle. You don't hear those people anymore. They don't even exist. It's some random joker that's on the internet that is now the influence of these kids' lives, and we got to change that dynamic so much. But I'm gonna get off my soapbox because I could be all day with this. But Coach Len, tell people how they can follow, support you guys, and all that good stuff.
So we're on Facebook, Rising Stars Polk County. We're on Instagram, Rise Polk County. We are on TikTok, Rising Stars Polk County. We are everywhere. Rising Stars Polk County. We're everywhere. If you look us up, you'll find us. So please donate. Please, whatever you can do, just spread the word. Share their word of mouth. If you ain't got $1, just say something to somebody else. You would be surprised what happens. So God has plans for this program. So it's definitely very successful.
That's right. Awesome. Coach Len, final thoughts from you, sir?
Well, I'm going to say this, right? For those who are listening, our program is our version of prison prevention. We do know that a lot of times these kids are led astray because they lack education. Our program is here to reinforce that. We're gonna make sure that these kids are educated and have some direction in life other than uh, criminal mischief, out terrorizing our neighborhoods and being influenced by the wrong people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's very simple. If you're not educating these kids towards a future, then you're allowing somebody else to do that.
Yeah.
And that somebody else is Leroy Jenkins from Florida State Penitentiary. You know, and he's only got your child because he himself is not man enough to handle his own battle. So they're recruiting your children to do these things.
Yep.
So I plead and I beg out to the parents. You know, if you don't want to do it, Miss Star and myself are here. You know, allow us the opportunity to get your kids where they want to be at, and to show them positive role models, people who really care. One of my biggest awards that I receive on a daily basis is the students that I've dealt with that call me pops now. You know, it's not Coach Len, it's pops, pops, pops. You know, and to me, that's better than any trophy sitting on the shelf collecting dust. When I know I did an impact on these young men's life, teaching them how to be young men.
Yeah.
Because I get all the questions. People don't understand. We're coaches, we're co-parents, we're ministers, we're guidance counselors, you know, and a lot of times we are that rock that sit and just listen.
Yep.
You know, so
Exactly.
and I will also be giving training in that for coaching, you know, teaching coaches how to coach properly, more so to be a listener, you know, instead of a yeller. So of the trust the words, you know,
Yeah.
because a lot of times people don't understand it. I mean, and with me, I see it a lot. Mental health is very, very big, you know.
Right.
And if these kids don't have somebody to go to, we lose them. You know, now we're looking at kids committing suicide or kids doing something crazy, trying to figure out how to survive on their own. So, fortunately, we're here. How about that? We're here, Miss Star, myself, Rising Stars, Polk. We are here and we care. Let me say that first and foremost. We care.
Yes.
You know, so
Absolutely.
you can give your kids to the streets, or you can give them the Rising Stars. We'll take them, and we're going to educate them, and they will be our future. That's my spiel. I'm done.
Absolutely, and thank you, Coach, for that. You know, you're absolutely right. It's very important that kids know that they have a resource available to them, and parents know that there's resources available to them, such as this program, Rising Stars Polk County, and that they don't have to be at their wits end and say, you know what, do what you want to do, get out of my face.
Yeah,
they can say,
don't
you
have
know
to do
what,
it alone.
exactly. They can say, you know what, we're gonna go to Rising Stars, and you're gonna get some help because I can't deal with your little ass right now. So, and that's what we need. That's what we need, and it is what it is. So, hey, the Star Coach Len, thank you once again. This is fantastic. I truly appreciate all the work that you guys are doing. Taking care of the community to the best that you can. It does take a village to raise a child, and people tend to forget that. Yes, it's the parent's responsibility, but it takes the village to help out. And
yes, sir.
and get them on the right track and everything else. And we tend to forget that. That idea has been lost over the last few decades, and we need to get back to that. And I thank you all for resurfacing what you're doing and bringing that importance back to the community. So y'all be safe out there.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And happy to have y'all back on anytime. Give us some updates. Let us know
Yes,
that those angel investors came through, and y'all got a $7 million mansion sitting on a waterfront property. You got the stadium. You got a brand new stadium being built next door. Type of thing. I want to see it because I think that's going to happen. So that's
awesome.
what we got to do. We got to put out
Thank you
there.
so much, and good luck in June. Also,
thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you. Yes.
yes.
I'll talk to y'all
you.
soon. Take care. God bless.
All right. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao. Ladies and gentlemen, RisingStars.org, Rising Stars Polk stars.org. Go there, make sure you donate, support the program. Even if you can't donate any money, maybe you can, go to Walmart and bulk buy, materials for them and drop it off or send it to them type of thing. There's always ways that you can help. It doesn't necessarily always have to be financially, but in a logistical sense, because that's important as well. Like they said, they have a program where they teach kids how to prepare for job interviews. So donating those nice suits, get an Armani suit and drop it off, type of thing for them. So it's just different ways you can help out. So it's not just relegated to just writing a check and donating money. It could be also donating those materialistic things to help them get on their way. So, folks, I'll get up out of here. I have another show to jump on that I'm late for. It'll be all right. But hey, don't forget to pick up Polarizing America. It is coming out. Bookstore near you, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and all that good stuff. You can go ahead and pre-order that today and check that out. For those that missed that, polarizingamerica.com society, pick that up, and I will talk to y'all later. Be safe. God bless you all. Have a fantastic weekend, and I will catch you all soon. Ciao, ciao. I hope you enjoyed today's program. You can follow, like, share, subscribe on Spotify, Substack, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and your news. And also, you can download Let the Truth Be Told app on your favorite streaming platforms, such as Fire Stick, Apple TV, and Roku.